Uh, can you guys hear me at all? No.
Ah, there I am. Okay.
I'm just trying to figure it out. Red, you there?
Yep. Can you see me?
I
Can you
can.
hear me?
Yeah, I can see you. So just trying to figure this thing out.
Yep.
Thurston looks like he got caught up. I texted him.
Hey, listen. He's at Long Island doing a taping. Ain't
Yeah.
no. He wasn't gonna make it.
Well, he initially thought that he was going on at 2 o'clock. He was going on and
No, I
taping at
was
2 o'clock.
I said 2 o'clock really means 4 o'clock, really means 6 o'clock.
Well, that's exactly what it looks like what happened because he was told 2, and then they pushed it back, and he was like, "Okay, I should be done right now. It looks like I'll be done somewhere around 4 o'clock, and I'll get home." So I should have checked in with him earlier, but it just so happens that he texted me the information. He says, "Just in case you guys wanted to go on." Good thing he did. Of course, I'm just trying to figure it all out. Happens that he texted me the information. He says, "Just in case you guys wanted to go on." Good thing he did. Of course. Who's this gentleman? Is that Randy?
Yeah, I think Randy, you're on a time delay or something.
All right.
Hey, Randy. Good to see you, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah. I'm doing good. Got my shot today.
Is your second?
Look at that.
Your first or your second?
My first.
Okay, because I know you were. I think you were supposed to get the first like about a month ago, but you got put off.
Yeah, it got put off. I was gonna have a procedure, but I had a procedure and I didn't want to, have the shot done, and then something happened, man, and messed me all up. So I just said, stay out.
Well, good. I'm glad you took the step.
Yeah, I seen your guys earlier last week, man. It was really, really good.
You mean a couple of weeks ago with the wives? Yes, that was.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, you were missing, man. We were missing you that day.
Yeah, man, we missed you and your dove.
Yeah, man, I was packing up to head out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, so we went out of town, and everything was we got what we wanted. God blessed us with some property,
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it was just amazing that how he did it. We were there for the whole week looking at land and all this kind of stuff and houses, and the one that wasn't on the list is the one that we wind up it was like when we passed it, you know how you hear something and then you like dismiss it, like, nah, I'm not worried about that. And that's exactly what happened, man. I mean, I was telling him, I said, listen, I heard in my spirit, like, God said you should check that one out, like that. But I was like, nah, because that wasn't on the list. But we was in the midst of buying another house, and my wife forgot the checkbook. And if we would have had the checkbook, we would have brought the house instead of getting the one that we really wanted, which happened to be the one that was the one that we kind of like dismissed. So everything kind of like worked out, man. So we we're happy about it. Supposed to be built in about 10 months, something like that. And so we'll see what happens after that.
Randy, let me find out your last name is Trump. You buying land? You buying land? Okay.
Ernesto, you in?
I think so.
All right, there you go.
Now I see Ernesto, but I don't see the rest of you guys.
Okay, that might be me hitting buttons because I don't know what I'm doing here.
Oh,
Stop pushing stuff.
Trying to figure this out here.
Good
Oh, whatever.
evening, Louisa. And I see Brother Thurston has he's watching us too.
Yeah, our esteemed leader, who's who's busy right now, but trusted us with his baby.
And he's like, "What did I do?"
Exactly. Because right now I'm trying to figure out how do I get everybody back up on the screen.
yeah, you better, because you're gonna lose some viewers if you keep me on the screen.
I'm trying to. What did I do?
I'm not sure. But
Thurston, chime
Louisa
in.
is asking. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. What you saying? Go ahead. Keep it going while I try to press some buttons.
I was gonna say Louisa's asking, how is everyone tonight?
Everyone is fine. Thank God.
Yep, we are doing good. I got a question. I got a topic that we can jump on, and you guys will probably hate me for this one.
Go for it.
Maybe not Alan, but and maybe not Randy. I can't speak for the rest of you guys, but how have you been doing with our fitness goals?
Yes. Real quick, let me answer Louisa. Louisa, I'm trying to. She's saying I see only one person. That's because I'm trying to figure it out, Louisa. I'm hitting buttons and I did something wrong, and I'm trying to correct it. So you're not crazy.
That's because Ernesto is our spotlight host of the day.
So yeah, I'm actually no, Darren, we don't see you.
No.
But we only see
Pastor Darren is in there.
Ernesto right now.
For crying out loud. I don't I don't see Pastor Darren at all to even bring him in.
But no, Reggie, yeah, I've been trying to work out. I developed my own small workout, and it's just about movement. So the least I do is 25 jumping jacks, 25 push-ups, 50 to 100 sit-ups, and then I try and mix some yoga in there. I try and take a walk and stuff, just trying to keep moving because unfortunately I have high blood pressure, so I'm one of the groups that can actually get the vaccine, and I haven't been able to find the vaccine, although I served at the church yesterday and they said they had vaccines for us, but then the last 20 people came in and took them. So,
Wow.
praise be to God, we were able to serve, but we didn't get the vaccine. But, what I took from last year is you have to develop 2.0. So Alan 2.0. What does Alan 2.0 look like? And for me, it's a closer relationship with God. So I'm listening to more podcasts and doing different reading plans with a group of people. I'm also working out. I'm just doing a lot of different things. I appreciate that, Louisa, but I live in Long Island, so I can't hit Medgar Evers or
Your college.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's me. I think that our body is our temple to the Lord, so have to take care of it.
Well, check this out. It's interesting that you say that because the Lord spoke that into my spirit this morning. I got up early, and I was reading. I've been living in First and Second Samuel because I'm taking a whole group of people through the Bible, and I think we're in Second Samuel, but I kind of fell behind again, and so I said, let me just catch up today. And I was reading First Samuel, and the story of when God was calling Samuel, and Samuel kept going to Eli, thinking it was Eli that was calling him. You guys know that story.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I got to the part where Israel is complaining to Samuel, saying they want a king, right? and God gives him a king, and he gives him all these restrictions and all these things that were going to happen as we
Hold on,
grow.
sorry, Reg. It's Louisa. It's Reggie's talking.
Oh, sorry.
They only see me, guys. So if you're talking, you should say, "Hey, this is Reg," or "Hey, this is Alan," or I can mime you.
Yes, mime me, and that would be interesting.
Until I figure this out. By the way, Pastor Darren is also is now in as well. I can see him, but I still, for whatever reason, when I'm pressing the button that should bring everybody up on the screen, it's not happening.
Well, would it be better if we all just log out and come back on again?
Yeah, maybe.
The host, I think we'd all be logged off. I think.
Okay, so should I do that? Should I try that?
No, you know what?
I think we got nothing to lose.
Hold on a second. Oh, they're calling you Pastor Ernesto. Yes,
no, that's Randy. That's Randy.
I think Vaughn, you should stay on, and we should all log off.
Yeah. I think that's wise.
Okay, all right. So let's try that and see if that works.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, if it'll be the Vaughn show if it doesn't work out.
Right. All right.
Hey, Pastor Darren.
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Just
all right.
Schedule is stretched here, but we making it.
All right. All right. So I got Alan.
All right.
I got Ernesto. Let's see if I can get Reg in.
Louisa, who do you see?
Reg.
Or how many people do you see, Louisa?
So we're just missing Randy right now. Louisa, do you see more than do you see everybody right now?
It's everybody is 5.
Right.
Yes, there we go.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we're just missing Randy. Is Randy coming in?
How you doing, Pastor? Good to see you, sir.
Good afternoon, brothers, gentlemen. God bless you all. Heaven smile upon you. I sound like my boyhood pastor. Oh boy. That's dangerous.
There we are. The gang's all here.
There we go. Come on, Vaughn. Give it up for Vaughn.
Yeah. Thank you.
Give it up for the dog pound.
Yeah, something. I guess my wife's tech savviness rubs off a little bit.
Yeah. So the question I asked, and I think it's a good topic because it could talk about men being consistent and accountable. Was how we spoke some, I don't know if it was a few months ago now, but we kind of talked about all of us getting into shape, all of us eating better, getting into shape. How has that journey been, or where are you on that journey?
Well, I gotta say I haven't been as consistent as I would like to be, but taking steps towards that consistency. It's been I've made sure that on Sundays, like this morning, Reg, I think you inspired this when I saw you doing it one Sunday a few months ago, getting out especially on Sunday mornings when I have free time after service and getting out and taking doing a brisk like 2-3 mile walk.
Yeah.
So I've been consistent with that, but I was telling Adrian this morning that I really want to start hitting the gym. We had a gym membership that at the Y that during when COVID hit, we shut it down. So now that they're back open, I'm going to try to leave the office at least a couple of times a week and hit that gym and just really start being more consistent.
Nice. How about you?
For me, when you go out of town, you sometimes you backslid, But But you thank God for grace.
Oh, that's right. You went to the Love Shack, like Ernesto said.
Randy, you didn't tell us what town that's in that you guys were looking at the property.
It's in Wesley Chapel, Florida.
Okay.
It's it's really booming community. I mean, houses are going up everywhere.
Isn't that where rich people live?
I don't think so. For the way they making these houses and the way these houses are going up, you would need to be rich. So that's why you got to thank God for favor, man. And I'm telling you so much, we be thanking for it. But yeah, man, that's been my thing. Been up and down, stuff like that, as far as trying to stay consistent, with it. And I think that's where, the whole thing about exercising and staying in shape and doing anything, I think it's always about consistency and staying with it. It's not about, because you can do a couple of exercises at your house and don't even have to really get to a gym. I found more people that was when the gyms was closed, everybody started finding other ways to work out. And they were saving the money. They was buying all types of equipment, weights and stuff like that, bikes, and they just built themselves a gym. But the problem is, more people have all types of gym equipment. They have treadmills, this and that. But it's the point of just getting on it and being consistent as far as working out. And it's not about the gym. It's about just, maintaining. And that's where you start seeing the results. I always loved that movie Rocky IV. I think that was my best one I liked because it was him going, with the elements, whether Drago going with all the machines and the steroids.
Yeah.
Rocky finished, man. He's out there in the snow with the log on his shoulders, doing swats and all this kind of stuff. But it was that what kind of like kept him going, and that's what it was, the consistency that things what happened with exercising. And eating right and stuff like that.
Randy, that's kind of like, there was an observation that I made within myself. Like I wasn't reading anything or studying anything. I was just kind of thinking about how time has changed and how time has changed us generationally, right? If you think back to the 70s and the 80s, well, more in the 60s and the 70s, there was a lot of factory jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lot more sturdy, hard labor type of work, right? So our fathers or our grandfathers were healthy. They were strong, right?
When they weren't smoking 3 packs of cigarettes.
When they weren't doing that, But even when they were, there was still the strength that they had, right? Because of hard work, period.
Right?
And because maybe sometimes they had to walk certain distances, some of them didn't have cars, and I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about how today we all had to become more technologically sound because of COVID, because of the shutdown. And it's caused us to really have to, like Randy said, you have to kind of push yourself to kind of work out. Whereas it's not found in the job market anymore. Everything is more, you have to be computer savvy, right? Everything is, especially as a minister, most of my work is on the computer. So the workout is really vitally important to me because I don't do any hard labor work with my hands or anything like that. So I just was thinking about that. I was like this morning I went for my walk, and as I was walking, I was just kind of walking around the neighborhood, and I'm looking, I'm thinking, and I started thinking, man, God, even like I started thinking about every spectrum, how soft I think. And I'm speaking for myself. I think that we got soft, and I'm not talking about we, the men. I'm talking about we as a society.
Yeah,
got soft. Like we complain about every little thing. We used to go to school through 10 feet of snow. Now we get one foot and everything shut down, or we get, there's snow in the forecast and we all get nervous. I'm like, man, when did we get so soft? And so I was just thinking about that in terms of us working out. Like, what does it mean for us today, in terms of being, remaining strong and healthy for our families and stuff like that, and remaining around for a long time, making sure our hearts are healthy, making sure our valves are flowing clean. I told my wife I have to eat more clean, just so I could be around longer and stuff like that. So that's kind of like why it's so important for us, more than ever, for us to work out, because there's nothing else out there that causes us to work out naturally like before, like in the 60s and the 70s. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any kind of sense, but that's what my mind.
What you say is right. Right. Our lifestyles are more sedentary than in the past. In the past, like you said, everybody had a lot more physical and manual labor, and now everybody's using their brain and their bodies to go into flab.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I even think like even so much, even I find even on your spiritual walk, the consistency, just to be able to just pick up the word of God and just study it or read it on a consistent basis sometimes can be even a challenge. That's why for me, I don't have none of that stuff. I don't have no Facebook on my phone, or none of the Instagram, none of that stuff. I have none of that. I don't. If I look at Facebook, it's only when I get home, I pick up my iPad and I skim through it. I know if I had it on my phone, I'll be sitting there all day at the desk just skimming through all this stuff, and then your Bible or your word usually goes on the back burner. So you try to set a time. I know at one point in my life, I found myself waking up at 3:00 in the morning. It's like every day, 2:45, 3:00. And I used to tell people all the time, I used to say, listen, man, I get up at 3:00 because I find that God is an early morning God. In the morning. So I would get up at 2:45, my eyes will open up and I'm laying there and I'm tossing and turning. So then I would decide that I would just take a blanket, I would go into the living room, my wife is asleep, and I'll fall on my knees and I'll just begin to worship God. And I just begin to talk to him, pray, and I found myself on that consistent thing, and it'll be for about or whatever it might have been until he released me sometimes, because sometimes you can get into that space and time just fly and you don't even realize that it went by so fast, and before you know it, it's almost time for me, and I have to go to work at 4:30. I get up at 4:30 to get ready for work. So I'm at 3:00 and that time is already hitting me. And so I found it was more on a consistent. So again, it's about the consistency, but then when you slack off, but now I find myself getting right back in that same place again, where my eyes are opening up at 3:00, 2:45 in the morning, because I found that's where my deepest part, where I was able to really get away from everything, and I can really get to the place where I can just sit there, talk to him, like I said, and grow in that type of that intimacy with him was always early in the morning, and so I always appreciated it. And so now, it's like I said, it's the struggles of that inconsistency that we go through. But if we can just learn to press through it, we'll find, you'll start seeing the results. Because it's not going to come, it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come quick. When you find yourself and your stomach growing and growing and growing, it didn't happen overnight. It happened over time.
Yeah, so that was some good work.
It takes some work some time to help bring it back down to where it was.
Yo, listen, not for nothing. Just a couple of days ago, this was a rude awakening for me. It kind of reminded me of two things, right? I got together with Rodney, Lamont O'Neill, and another friend of ours named Alfredo. Ernesto was supposed to be there, but he wasn't feeling well. And these are brothers from the ICB step team from back in the days. And we had to do something real quick. And we haven't stepped together, man, Ernesto, like what? 15, 16 years, maybe, something like that.
At least more like 17,
18 years, something like that, right? So now, mind you, I step with the kids, but I realized that I don't step as much with the kids as I used to. I'm more of an instructor,
No.
right? I
You're
instruct,
more of a
right?
Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we got together because you know, the ICB men's meeting is coming up. And they wanted to feature the men. And I was reminded of how hard we worked. Like how we were men. We went in, and it wasn't easy steps or anything like that, and we went in. And I also was reminded that I got to be consistent in my working out, right? Because we rehearsed for like an hour. Mind you, we haven't stepped together in like 16 years, something like that. We rehearsed for only an hour and a half, and then we had to do the taping. And it was hilarious because after every segment that we did, we were grasping for air. We were on the floor. We were half dead. And I was like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And I knew it wasn't because of my age. I knew it was because the pandemic pounds were in effect. And
Fighting
so,
against
you know, I'm just saying that to Randy to say, like, you know, you're right. We got to be consistent because it shows up. And when it shows up, we're kind of embarrassed by it. You know, like, man, I thought I was in better shape than this type of thing. You know what I mean? So it convicted me to be more consistent because I haven't been. But it also inspired me, you know, like, okay, I wasn't bad, you know what I'm saying? We got through the whole thing, right? But it was just, I couldn't believe how, you know, how out of breath I was. And again, it was coming from thinking about how rugged I believe that, and I'm not calling men weak or anything by that nature, but I'm thinking the conditions of this generation doesn't require as much physical you know, attention as generations before. So we have to kind of build ourselves up. We're more responsible to find ways to remain physically healthy, you know?
True.
True, man. I mean,
So
when I was down in Florida, I picked up a basketball because I was talking all this trash to my wife, niece, and nephew. And I'll tell you, man, I like to die. I was laying on the counter, man. I was like gasping for air. And I mean, I took the ball, I haven't played, I touched the ball in so long. And I mean, and I shot this ball and I was embarrassed. I mean, the ball just dropped.
You did a Trump. Oh, man.
Now, see, the one among us who's probably been consistent has been quiet, Pastor Darren.
That's right.
He's sitting around watching, letting us tell all the embarrassing stories, and he's like, okay.
Vaughn,
Yes, sir.
you and your perceptive self. I'm gonna do with you, brother. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. But no, I was, you know, I was listening, and actually, I'm just reminded of, you know, where I am and why I need to be there. And the one word that keeps coming to me, especially where this is concerned, because fitness is not just a physical principle, but it's a wholeness principle.
That's right.
Because you got some people that are physically fit, but spiritually unfit. You got some people that are physically fit, but financially unfit. You got some people that are physically fit, but emotionally unfit. So it's just the whole picture. And the word that
I'm sorry, Pastor Darren, just really quick. Thurston, we see your text. Thurston saying he misses us guys, and he's trying to text in the middle of a recording. Thurston is not here because he's actually serving at the ministry. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But
Yeah, don't mess up the taping, Thurston, because you'll just have to redo it again and again.
Exactly. I'm sorry,
I thought
Pastor
Thurston
Dan.
was Latino with that first text he put. I miss you guys.
I know, miss you guys.
Wow.
I don't see that. I don't see. I don't see. No, I see. I miss you. Oh, I see it. I got it.
There it is. I know, miss you.
I know, miss you guys.
So,
oh Lord.
So the word that keeps coming to me is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline. And it's interesting because how does Jesus refer to us? He refers to us as his what?
Disciples.
And referring to us as his disciples, he's referring to us as his disciplined ones. And at the core of discipline is a regimen. In other words, you establish a routine that you become committed to. And the routine is established by developing a habit. And it is said when you do something consistently for 21 days, now it has become a habit. And so in line with what Pastor Randy was saying, you know, he got, y'all remember he got elevated like about 4 weeks ago, remember, right? Ernesto ordained him. And, you know,
that's a problem.
No, listen.
I ordained you, man.
Some about us pastors, we love to have folks sharing in, man. But that's another discussion. But anyway, one of the things I have learned, the older you get, the harder you have to work at fitness. However, there is a principle that is always in play, which is if you can work smarter, then you don't have to work as hard. Mm-hmm. So as I'm getting closer to 60, I'm learning how to listen to the very clear signals that come from my body. And mm-hmm. I'm convinced that our bodies send us clear signals. We just haven't conditioned ourselves, disciplined ourselves, and prepared ourselves to listen and to even recognize the signals. So as I go through that and realizing that there's just certain things you just can't do the older you get. You know, I'm going to be 58 in April. And, you know, people tell me, well, you don't look your age. Yeah, I mean, I look it, but I'm reminded of it every morning when I get up because there's a new ache and there's a new pain. That's just the reality. And I thank God for I'm in very good shape. And yes, I thank God for how well I look, but I can't let that go to my head. I have to be very, very intentional and in some instances aggressive as far as maintaining my health. And it comes through that discipline. So I'm doing very well, actually, brothers. I'm working out every day. I'm up to 13 miles on the stationary bike.
Daily?
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
Vaughn said that.
I'm like, that's not over a whole week.
No, that's what I can go 13 miles if I want to.
Nice.
So, and then I also, because what happened, when I went to my doctor 3 or 4 years ago, I was very concerned because of the belly, and it seemed like the belly was just growing exponentially, and no matter what I did, it just kept growing. I mean, this is real, brothers. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you real, okay?
And we can all relate.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
And listen, I'm gonna let you say that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna let you say that. So,
it shows up with me too.
So I went to my doctor because I'm the kind of guy I'm going to ask questions, especially when it comes down to fitness. I'm going to ask questions. Right. My doctor's very good. And I said to him, you know, I was doing the crunches and all that kind of stuff, you know, pulling abdominal muscles and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know, what can I do about this belly? And my doctor said something to me that I never forgot. And as usual, he was right. He said, you got to keep the cardio up. Got to keep the cardio up. He said, and as you get older, it's not so much about the strength conditioning, although it's important, and all those other kind of things. It's the cardio is where your advantage is.
That's right.
And the reason why I found him to be so correct, because I have a condition. I have a rare blood disorder. It's called ECT, essential thrombocythemia. So my body over manufactures blood platelets, where the average person has between 400,000 600,000 blood platelets. When this condition was diagnosed, I had 1.1 million.
Wow. And
the doctors was amazed that I was walking around. I was like, well, you know, high blood, low blood, no blood at all. I'm not going nowhere until I'm finished. That's just how I live. That's the kind of faith level I live on. But at the same time, when you know there's something wrong, you need to address it. So they put me on medicine, and it's come down. When I caught COVID, it went back up, and that's only because of inflammation, but it's going back down. So one of the things I learned, and this is what I was telling you, brothers, about learning how to listen to your body and what it tells you. I noticed the older I get, the less of a tolerance I had for impact exercising. Okay. Because I used to, at one particular point in time, I could run 7 miles. My daughter got married 2017, and I wanted to lose some weight. So I got up to 6-7 miles on the track. All right. But my knees would pay a horrific price.
Yeah.
And I noticed no matter how well I invested in the running shoes, no matter how cushioned they were, they could have all the air pockets in them that they wanted. Your feet are still going to come down on the ground, and there's still going to be some force that your knees are going to embrace.
Mm-hmm.
And so my knees would, like, you know, I would be so grateful and thankful that I had did 6-7 miles, and my knees would be saying, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. So I noticed the correlation that when I would go to my hematologist and my knees were hurting, my platelet count would be elevated. And then when I wasn't doing the impact exercising, my platelet count would be decreased, because there's a correlation between the platelets being elevated and impact, because you're getting bruising. And so now, because of this condition, when certain things happen, the body aggressively or oversends platelets to that area to recover. That's why I take a minimum of 1,500 milligrams of a chemotherapy every day, and then 81 milligrams of enteric-coated aspirin. And I'm telling you guys this for a reason, okay? I hope no one's uncomfortable by the level of transparency, but I'm telling you this for a reason. The enteric-coated aspirin and the medicine would offset, but I realized I had to do my part. And as I noticed the correlation between the increased platelet count and impact exercise, and then I don't need to get a medical degree to understand, okay, you got to decrease or even eliminate impact exercise. And so that's what I did. And so my wife bought this stationary bike, no impact, and it increases the cardio. Okay. And the combination of those things has been really blessing me. And I've been noticing that, and there is a strength conditioning routine that I go through using resistance bands. Resistance bands are great. And I got a hold of some resistance bands by this guy named Dr. Jakish. They're called the X3 bars, and they really work, man. And so between that and I only need 10 minutes on the resistance bands. Okay, I'm not trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or anybody else. I'm just trying to stay in shape. Okay, and look good for the missus. And like Randy said, Reggie, you know, stick around, because I have an assignment, I have a purpose, and it's not done yet. Okay, I firmly believe, and this is just my reality, that there are some preachers that have checked out prematurely because they didn't respect the laws of God.
Absolutely.
That's a reality, brothers. Some people will disagree with it, and that's fine. But I've had too many I've had to bid farewell to. I've had too many I've had to go visit in the hospital, knowing that they're younger than me, okay, knowing that they don't have underlying conditions, that the only thing that happened was they did not make the proper choices with their health. And so knowing all these things has motivated me and allowed me to find my zone and find my rhythm. And usually, and then, you know, with fitness, one of the things about fitness is you got to be prepared to do what you've never done before. So, you know, I was one of those pastors who on Sunday mornings, and Pastor Randy, I think you're going to be able to appreciate this because of your exposure to Bishop Brown, and probably you too, Vaughn. Alan and Ernesto, I don't know about you guys, your ecclesiastical backgrounds, but you may have something in experience that you can appreciate this as well. But there's some things that pastors will not do on Sunday morning because it interferes from their vantage point as far as their effectiveness is concerned. And so I'm learning that you're never going to be, well, one of my former pastors taught me, he said, your ministry will never be any better than your manhood. You're only going to be as good a minister as you are a man. And so I'm learning that there are adjustments now that I've had to make in order to be effective even in ministry. So now I'm doing something that 5 years ago, I would have thought that, okay, God's going to strike me dead. And that is, I get a workout in on Sunday mornings. Now that, brothers, you got to understand where I'm coming from. That's like, you know, lightning strike stuff. You know, that's not of God. You should be laying before the Lord and getting your word and what you need. So, but guess what? Since I've been doing it, I'm more effective even at ministry. And I'm not even as winded when like now, here I am on this live stream with you guys, 10 minutes to 6. Okay. Prior to this, I would have been somewhere with my tongue hanging out of my mouth because I would have been so wiped out from ministry. Okay. Years ago, there was a study done, and some doctors hooked up EKG machines to preachers. Okay. And they let the machines run while they preach.
Were they Pentecostal?
Pentecostal, yes. And actually, it's been done also with
That's a workout.
Wait. It's also been done with teaching pastors too. And the same results happen. And what the numbers show that 1 hour of preaching is equal to 8 hours of construction work.
Wow.
The numbers showed it, brothers. And you have to understand there's an exertion that's taking place in your body because you're in between multiple dimensions. You're dealing with the spirit realm, you're dealing with the physical realm, you're dealing with the emotional realm, you're feeding off the people, because if you're a good minister, you're going to be in touch with those you're ministering to recognize sometimes when you have to spontaneously shift and allow Holy Spirit to take you in a different direction to give them what they need. And so you got all that stuff coming in on you, all right? And if you're not in shape, you're going to have a problem. So prior to even working out on Sunday mornings, by this time, I'm somewhere like I have taken a drink. I'm just hungover, comatose. But here I am sitting talking with you guys, and I can just go a little bit longer. So there's adjustments that I've learned that I've had to make, and to be consistent and to know how to fold them into my regimen. And listen, my thing is, as far as my blood disorder is concerned, I don't care. I'll take my medicine like I'm supposed to, but I'm believing God that he's going to heal me of this disorder before I leave here. I don't believe I got to leave here to get healed of it. I'm believing that he's going to heal me of it before I get here. But in the meantime, I got to do my part, not be reckless, not be irresponsible, do the best that I can to practice good health and to get in my regimen. So in 45 minutes, I'm able to do 13 miles on the bike.
Wow. Amen. Pastor, I like that your example where basically there's no excuses. Just because you couldn't do the high impact, you found another way to get it done. People always make excuses. Well, I can't because of my back hurts, or I can't because of particular my needs. But there's another way around that you can find a way to still get the exercise in, to do things to take care of yourself. So I like that example.
And can I tell you another secret that I found? Because aches and pains are real. They are real. They don't have to be excuses, but they are real. Oftentimes, when you fall into a regimen and you get consistent, some of those aches and pains go away, because sometimes the aches and pains are cry outs from the body.
Exactly.
Work me, please. These bodies were made to move. That's why what you said is very heavy, Reggie, about our forefathers and previous generations, how they were in such shape. Because like Vaughn said, they didn't have as sedentary a lifestyle. And it's a known fact. The more you move, the healthier you are. As a matter of fact, these bodies, what are we in the midst of? This pandemic, right? And what attacks the immune system. Well, it's a known fact. The more you exercise, the more you turbocharge your immune system. That's been established, okay? And like Vaughn said, the things that you're struggling with don't have to be an excuse. And I found my way. I'm good. And brothers, the stomach is kind of flat.
There you go.
Praise be to the name of the Lord Jesus. It's not flatlands yet, but no pun intended.
Check this out.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, check this out real quick, right? Because Pastor Darren, you hit it on the head for everything that you said. I bought my wife a spin cycle, right? I've never used one until I bought her that one. And I'm telling you, it changed the game for me. I'm like, oh my God.
There you go.
It is so dope, because you start sweating within minutes, but it it's good for your cardio. You could go hours on that thing.
Yes.
Right. But sorry, I know Nestor, you wanted to say something.
No, it's fine.
most of the stuff that you said, I discovered without the research. Like, you know, I know that, like, I go walking on Sunday mornings between 4 and 5:30, right? Because I wake up early. Sometimes I listen to the word while I'm walking. Sometimes I listen to some gospel. And when I come back, I have more energy to do. My day goes by because your body is telling you thank you. Your body is actually telling you it's happy, right? That, and the opposite happens when you eat. When you eat and you lounge around and you're just being like kind of you're not being productive, and you know you're not being productive. You're kind of being lazy. Your body responds in appropriately. It kind of it's telling you it's not happy, and then you get all these. I remember one time I was in the house for 2 weeks straight. This is like when we were in the middle of the pandemic. But I wasn't moving. I wasn't doing anything. And I remember I was laying on the couch, and I got up and I had a sharp pain in my side, right underneath my buttocks, right? It was a sharp pain.
That's the nerve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sciatica.
Yeah, that thing lasted way too long.
Yeah.
And I already knew what it was. I knew that my body was just telling me, yo, dude, yo, you gotta get moving.
Move.
Yeah.
You gotta move. And so you're absolutely right. You know, that's why I'm saying we have to be intentional. Because also the physical fitness also strengthens the mind.
Yes.
It also strengthens the emotion.
Yes.
It's not just an isolated thing that you do when you're working out your body.
Yes.
You know, your mind is engaged, your emotions are engaged. It's a how's that term? Everything works together as a unit. It's not they're not isolated. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned that through especially, as I got older, like you said, your body tells you, and you're right. Everybody's body. I think we spoke about this before when Chris and his wife was on, when Chris and Janine were on, and we talked about body types.
Yes.
Everybody's body type is different. So maybe our workout regimens may be different.
Yes.
Some of us like me, I can lose weight very quickly. I know my body responds to when I decide I'm going to cut out certain foods and I'll do a certain workout. I know I could lose a certain amount of weight in a certain amount of time. Whereas another person may not be able to do that. They may need a different type of regimen, So you gotta learn your body also and what it responds to, and then because you can overexert yourself in the wrong activity.
Yes.
And then thinking that it just doesn't work for you, but you're just doing the wrong activity.
Yes.
Or you don't understand your body type.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge a couple of people. Louisa is agreeing with you, Reggie, about the mind and emotions. And Nicole Brown, she was saying that Pastor Darren, you're talking right. Aches and pains are real, but they don't have to stay when you exercise more often. She's a witness. And Rod Patterson wants to know if we fired Thurston. Yes, we kicked him off his own show.
Be happy, man.
Thurston is doing a taping right now for ICB, Rod. So that's why he's delayed. And so we went on just to keep things moving.
Yeah, you got him working overtime in 3 jobs, Rodney. It's your fault.
Reggie, can I just say something? You
Yes,
said
sir.
very critical, and it really, really blessed me in terms of affirmation, which is, understanding, where you are. Because I still love walking. And one of the things my wife and I had gotten into even during the pandemic was walking together in the evenings. But guess what, brothers? In the course of having developed the mindset of just always evaluating and listening to what my body's saying, I had to back away from walking, because even though walking is supposed to be low impact, that level of impact was still causing me a problem. And so I had to just, okay, you cannot do any impact exercising whatsoever. Okay, that's just the cold hard reality that Darren had to face. And The other thing I've learned too is, variations is very important, because even when you're doing strength conditioning, a good strength conditioning trainer will tell you how to vary your routines, because the muscle has memory. And once it remembers what was done, it won't respond the way it needs to do in order for you to tone and grow and et cetera, et cetera. So I recently came across this machine, and it's called, you pronounce it as Climber, CLMBR. And what it is it's a machine, and I believe Jay-Z is one of the investors behind it. This thing is about $2.5 grand, and it has resistance on it, and it's simulating you climbing. The entire body is moving. You can put resistance on it. And when I saw it and I looked at it and I investigated, I told my wife, I said, okay, that's my next main piece of fitness equipment. So, you're always constantly on that journey of evaluating where you are and needing, preparing yourself to make the adjustments as you need them. So, that really was like, that really, really blessed me, Randy, because, sometimes you feel bad and you don't realize you don't have to feel bad. This is just the reality where you are. This is what you deal with. You don't have to measure yourself up by somebody else's standards. You got to work with the standards that works for you, and then make the adjustments. Be an example and let someone else be an example, but don't be terrorized and traumatized by somebody else's success when that's not who you are.
That's right.
Okay, and that just applies across the board, not even just fitness, with everything. Because comparison can be a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing if we allow perversion to creep in. So, I'm really grateful to that. Thank you for that. And the other thing I'll say, and then I'll just, just yield the floor. Sometimes you got to be prepared for the things that God is going to do in your life unexpectedly to accelerate your fitness goals and your fitness regimen. So I wasn't looking to get COVID. I don't think anybody is. We've been talking about the vaccine, and we're trying to do everything that we can to not get it, but I got it. Okay, and how I got it is a whole nother show and a whole nother discussion. But God brought me through it. Obviously, I'm still here. I went to the doctor. He tested me, and I have antibodies. So what that means is the body fought it well, successfully, and now it has developed an immunity to it. Okay. How long it's going to last, that's a whole nother discussion, whatever. But right now, I'm just good. But but believe it or not, when the Bible tells us certain things, is real. When Joseph told his brothers, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good," and what Paul said, he causes all things to work together for good to those that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. The good that came out of COVID was I dropped 21 pounds, and because of the discipline, I've been able to keep it off. I mean, I'm getting into suits now that was hanging up in the counter, that I was like, oh me, oh my, I wish I, now I can pull them off the rack and fit in them nicely, and don't even need the belt if I don't want to. As a matter of fact, I need the belt to hold it up. So I said that because sometimes we got to be sensitive to the things that God is doing that may not seem like it's Him, but if you said to Him, okay, I want to accomplish this, I want to do that, and then He introduces a challenge in your life, or He introduces something in your life that you would not necessarily look for, be open and sensitive to Him. Okay, sending the answer to your prayer, or allowing it to come in such a way that He can answer it, and then you get the benefit. And so I'm not going to squander my experience. Okay, since I went through COVID, I'm going to make sure I cherish that thing and keep this weight off, brothers. That's my thing. And so I'm going to remain disciplined, and make no mistake, it's a challenge, because the other part of it is, as you get older, the desire is not there. And one of the reasons why medical professionals say so is because you don't have the same hormonal imbalance, or the same hormonal balance, or the same stimulation. So you got to work now harder mentally to push yourself as you get older. But that's when regimen and discipline comes in. If you regimen yourself and this, now it's like, I can't let the day come by. Pastor Randy's mentioned about how God wakes him up 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, if I'm not up by 4:30, I'm late, because folded into that is my personal prayer time and devotions, and then hitting that spin bike, Reggie, and hitting it, making sure I have enough time, that 45 minutes, to get to the place where I need to go, get off it, get the 10 minutes of strength conditioning, and for the rest of the day, I'm good. You know, I don't even have to have a nap if I don't want to. I may get one just for the luxury of it, but I could just go through. So yeah, Vaughn, that's why I was quiet, because you can see how much is in me, you know. But I'm just grateful to God, man. I'm just grateful to God. Yep.
All right. Anybody?
I have a question for you guys. So I think I missed what you guys think about the vaccine. So, just a little, so I'm scheduled to get the vaccine on Wednesday. Oh, actually, I'm lying. Thursday, the 4th, right?
This is you've been given that that opportunity because you're an educator.
I work at the DOE. That's correct. Right. Yeah, I work for the DOE. So, and they opened up a new center not too far from me over at York College. So when I got on it, oh man, there were so many spots open. So I took one, but here's the thing. The missus is a little skeptical about, you sure you want to take it? That kind of thing, going on. So I was curious to know, what do you guys think about the, go ahead, A.
That's interesting, because I was saying earlier that I served at CCC yesterday. They had the second round of COVID vaccines from Pfizer. And, we were told, hey, it looks like, some people might not show up. So what they do with and this is good for everyone to know, but they have to use those vaccines that they bring. So if you cannot find an appointment anywhere, if you go at the end of the day to one of these places, if they have a vaccine, most likely they'll give it to you, even if you're not on the list.
This is true.
Right, because they go bad. There was a case.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a case in a snowstorm a few weeks ago where they were stuck on a highway in a snowstorm, and they were on their way en route to take the vaccine somewhere, but they were stuck on the highway, and they literally got out of their vehicle and went from car to car saying, "Who wants a vaccine?" Because we can't let these go to waste.
I was going to ask.
So I actually know someone who actually got the vaccine in that manner. He knew some people who, some administrators over at Harlem Hospital. He lives in Queens, and they had some that were, if they didn't use them, they would lose them, and they called him up, says, "Look, come over." And him and his wife rushed over there, and they got it. Just to answer Louisa, the one that I'm scheduled to take is the Pfizer, not the visor, the Pfizer.
Right. Louise is talking about the Johnson & Johnson, which is going to be the one shot. Which
not yet.
Which is expected to roll out probably Thursday or Friday. They expect it to start being distributed. Yeah. Right. So, and that one doesn't have to be refrigerated as these others. So
exactly.
That's why they're hoping that this one really makes an impact, because it doesn't have to have the same holding that the others do.
So they say
that's correct. Yeah, but I'm scheduled for Pfizer.
So unfortunately, we weren't able to get it because rolling in at the last minute, people running to the door, we were scheduled, I'm here. So they didn't have any left over. And that was, I was kind of excited, and, I called my wife and I said, hey, I have this opportunity to take the vaccine. Maybe you want to come down and get one too. And she's like, whoa. I thought you said you were going to wait until, you see more results and things of this nature and possibly May, etc. And I had said that at first, but, when I was looking at the statistics, and, I did some research just this morning after church, I think it's about 10 to 11 million people have gotten this. And there are several articles which, I copied and everything and shared with her that say that, one, they're very effective. Two, the quote unquote deaths that they've reported are actually inconsistent with actually the vaccine. Three, they, to their knowledge, as of yet, it doesn't affect pregnancy or anything of that nature, and it doesn't affect people during the childbearing years. And they were actually saying that, from everything that they've seen, these have been very, very effective. Now, I actually text my cousin, who's a doctor. She actually went to Harvard, and she's actually a professor at Brown, and she has her own practice as well. And she took the vaccine, and my other cousin's also a doctor. I have a lot of medical professionals in my family, but they were like, shoot, get whichever one you can get. And unfortunately, I have high blood pressure, and I was saying, well, how does it work with lisinopril and everything of that nature? And they were like, it works fine. So I see Louisa just said, I know someone's wife who got the second vaccine and is now in ICU unit of the hospital with a not good diagnosis. And, I'm not going to say that anything is 100% effective. Nothing in life except Christ, God, is 100%. We with any sort of vaccine, with any sort of medication, you could take Tylenol and die. And there are reports of that, So, I say consult yourself, consult God, think through this, read through documents, right? But the thinking that, oh, this is like the Tuskegee experiment, and they're taking some to give to blacks and this and that. Listen, they're giving this to everybody: old people, young people, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, upstate, Iowa. They're hitting everybody.
And so, not only that, when you get the vaccine, the shot, it doesn't immediately kick into effect. It takes time for it to work in your system. So we don't know, Louisa's friend don't know if the vaccine can be, her illness can be attributed to the vaccine. I'm sure they'll look into that. But what I heard someone saying was people still have to be careful, because people think they get the shot, they immediately can just take off the mask and run through the street.
No,
you still have to be careful, because it still takes time for your body to build up the defenses, even after you take the vaccine.
What's interesting?
They want you to continue to wear the mask.
Exactly.
And they want you to still continue. The other thing about the Johnson & Johnson, they saying it's only like 60%. Whereas the other two is like up in the 90% as far as effective.
Right. What they're saying that with the Johnson, they said it will probably 90% keep you out of the hospital.
That's right.
It will keep you out of the hospital. It doesn't say, like, no vaccine for anything can say that you're going to 100% not get some of the illness, not get something that you're not going to get it. But the idea is to keep yourself from becoming extremely ill and be hospitalized or possibly even death.
And they also say, because when I went to go take it today, they told you, and I have heard other people say it, that when they take usually the second dose, you might wind up with a fever, a low-grade fever. You start feeling like you have like the flu symptoms and stuff like that. Usually it might last a day on something like that. But, you might have an effect. Some people say, my brother-in-law had it, he had nothing. He felt nothing. So it affects people differently, like all medicine does. All things, vaccinations, stuff, it affect people differently. But I mean, you have to think like this. I know a lot of people still are scared about it, but the way I see it, this thing is not going away, and it's going to be around for a long time. So you have to in order to try to get back to some kind of normalcy as far as anything, you're going to have to do something. I mean, to take it, to be able to really travel, to do anything you want, to be able to mingle. This is what they're looking for, and this is what you're going to have to do. I mean, I just happen to be able to, I had to go to Brooklyn in order to find it. I mean, my wife was one very, very, diligent, making sure that I got the shot, because, she knows I can be very, relaxed and lazy at times and not looking to get it done. So she was constantly all the time looking until she was saying, oh, they have it in Brooklyn and Mill Basin, and it's for city workers. Because at first they were only allowing within the 5 boroughs, because they're really trying to push amongst the African Americans, the Latinos. They're really trying to get them to get it. And low income people, they're trying to get them to get it. And so they're turning away people if you didn't fit, because they even had zip codes. You had to live in a certain type of zip code, and you had to bring some ID within those zip codes in order for you to get the vaccine. But now they seem to open it up more now to city workers, and they're pushing it on for different ones so that you could be able to get it.
Right, but while our people have been reluctant, Black and Latino people, like Rodney points out, people from other communities have been coming into the Black neighborhoods and the Black communities and getting the vaccine because it wasn't available in their neighborhoods, in their communities, but they came into our communities and were getting the vaccines because they had the opening, because we weren't taking advantage of it.
And I looked at I'm waiting on for Long Island, and you can't find it nowhere. It's only in the 5 boroughs where you're gonna go out and you will get it. So they don't really have it stationed too many places in Long Island. So that's why a lot of them are headed out that way. I mean, going into the 5 boroughs to get vaccinated.
Pastor Darren, being that you've already experienced COVID, and I know Alan, you have as well. You already stated your case. Pastor Darren, what do you feel? Do you feel like you're eager or anxious to take it?
No, I'm not. I'm not. For several reasons. I tend to err on the side of caution and old school when it comes down to vaccines. And I've always been one, that's been kind of a little leery of vaccines, because I really believe in the body's natural immune system. So that's going to be the case irrespective of COVID. Now, when we look at this thing, and I'm just kind of concerned about the speed with which the vaccine has been developed, understanding that mankind is always going to advance and do things on a better, quicker level than what it has. But this has just been outside the norm. But then the circumstances have been outside the norm. Then I have my wife's sister has been practicing medicine for over 30 years in Atlanta. And this woman has just proven herself to be brilliant when it comes to medicine. Okay.
And that's
okay. And so she actually in March, she got looking back at it now, I believe she got probably one of the strongest strains of this thing when it first hit.
People have been reluctant, Black and Latino people, like Rodney points out, people from other communities have been coming into the Black.
Okay.
I don't know where that came out. How that came out. I don't know how that happened.
So that was nice ventriloquism.
Yeah, I don't even know how that occurred.
So she got COVID. She's a wound care doctor in Atlanta. So she probably contracted it from one of the patients, and this is when this thing first blew open in March. Not only was she on the ventilator, but she wound up getting on the ECMO. And the ECMO is an advanced breathing apparatus, which is almost like used in extreme circumstances. And you're usually on it for 2 weeks. She was only on it for 5 days. And then when you come up to ECMO, therapy and rehab is a given. Well, she walked out of the hospital and went back to her normal life. Matter of fact, went home that day and said, I want a steak. And she said, I'm not taking it yet. My doctor, the same one that tested me for immunity or whatever, he did advise me to take it. He said, however, because you've had it and you've built up antibodies, you need to wait a good 3 to 6 months before you take it. And I thought that was kind of interesting, until I started doing some research and asking some questions, and I discovered why. And this actually happened to one of the leaders in our church who got COVID and then took the vaccine because it was available at her job because she's an essential worker. And on the first dosage, she started having some complications. And they were like baffled. And then someone realized, wait a minute, you had the virus, right? They said, yeah. So what they realized was that the antibodies, because she got tested, she had antibodies. The antibodies now see, because when you do a vaccine, you're just introducing a form of whatever it is into the body and then making the body respond to fight it off. So what they realized was when she got the vaccine, the antibodies that's in her system is saying, oh, wait a minute, this is not supposed to be in here. And that's why she had some mild symptoms, but eventually she got over it. So to answer your question, from my comfortability level, the jury is not out yet. Okay? From my comfortability level. And Alan said something I think that's very key, and this is what I said to our congregation. You got to consult God and you got to consult yourself. And the Bible is very real to us about doing things beyond our conscience, doing things beyond what you're comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable, you shouldn't do it. I don't care who is saying what, okay? And if you are comfortable, and if it's something that needs to be done, and you get the green light from God and yourself, go for it. And that's where I am, okay? I hope that answers the question, Brother Vaughn.
Yeah, Alan?
Yeah, I'm going to give an opposing point of view. You know, I've done a lot of research about this, and you know, I think that people should do what they feel is best. Definitely, I think though that God provided, these individuals to create this thing. And what people don't understand is some people are saying, oh, cancer's been around and why haven't they found stuff for that? And AIDS has been around and things of that nature. And, corona, there are 7 types of coronavirus. Actually, there are at least 7 types, but there are more variants now than before. And the first one actually was called 229E, which was identified in 1965. That's over 55 years of treatment and research. And, some of these strains are known to actually cause the common cold, or, what some people term as the flu. So therefore, the coronavirus is a group of viruses that has been studied for decades. That's why this is called COVID-19. Cancer is a different type of disease. It's not a specific type of virus or bacteria. It's an abnormal growth of cells. We still don't quite know how to grow cells. And we're trying, humans are trying to do stem cell research to see how they can grow these cells and looking at genetics and things of that nature, which therefore requires different methods of research than like the coronavirus is about. A matter of fact, if we figured out how to grow cells or kill some cells, how would we know which ones, we would then have to figure out which ones to grow and which ones to stop growing. Am I messing with the good ones growing or am I messing with the bad ones? So that would be probably the next stage of cancer research if they found some sort of cure. The virus that causes AIDS was discovered in 1983. So, that's a relatively short time, but AIDS and HIV treatments have come a long way. And it still is an infection for life, transmitted across sexual interactions, and is not airborne like the coronavirus. So these things are not even closely similar. And I think what we have to remember is, as Pastor Darren said, you're right, the body was meant to heal itself. But we're talking about, and I hate to get esoterical, but we're talking about Adam and Eve, how they started. Okay, God created the body in a certain way. If you look at the genealogy represented in Genesis from Adam on down, it shows that each one lived less and less time. Noah lived 600 years, Adam lived 900, etc. Right? Now we've gone from the purity of how God created us in the very beginning and everything being pure to man actually putting stuff in our food. There's stuff in the air. There's mercury in the fish. Yeah. Is it natural? No, natural doesn't mean that. You got to get organic. Is it farm raised? Is it catfish raised? Is it upriver, downriver, whatever? So, I think that the body can still heal itself, to your point, Pastor Darren, but I don't think we have the natural. I'm talking the natural healing that we had before, and I think you can do that with you can aid that with some certain herbs and spices and things of that nature. But I think what it comes into context is God. God can heal anything. If you ask God and it is of his will, he can heal anything. But we also have to take this COVID vaccine as, I can't be fearful of it, because if I'm fearful of it, then there's a problem, because God is not a God of fear. We have to conquer fear with faith. And if you're reluctant because your doctor says it's not something that you should take, or you want to get more research, that's fine. But I think we need to stay away from fear. And I think what people have done is they've created fear around stuff, especially within our community. So when I served yesterday in Brooklyn, someone from Rockville Center, which I live nearby, a white couple came and, hey, I'm here to get my second shot. The first time I waited at CCC, there was a long line, but he's coming all the way from Long Island because, like Randy said, we can't find shots in Long Island. You got to go to the city, or you have to have a friend, or maybe you'll go to Jones Beach and wait on that line, etc. But it's very difficult. So I would say out there to anyone that, let's not be fearful. Let's be mindful. Let's be prayerful. Let's seek the Lord. If we are feared, let's conquer that fear with faith and think about things. Come, let us reason together is what the Bible says. Seek the Holy Spirit. Seek out medical advice from your doctor. Read different things. Educate yourself.
I want to point out whoever Adrienne Simmons is. I don't know what she is, but she sounds beautiful. She said, "I hope those who get it or want it, they don't judge those who feel hesitant and vice versa. No one should feel coerced either way. I'm praying for everyone, whatever decision they make." One of the things I wanted to say is, based on some of the stuff that Alan was saying, the science, the doctors say it a lot of time, because people are hesitant because they feel that the vaccines came upon too quick. But the science that these vaccines are built on years and years of COVID, of the different what is it's called COVID-19, but there's been other COVIDs before. So there's been years and years and years of science already established, and they just built the science working on this new COVID built on all those other years and years of science. And yeah, it's been pushed quicker to get through because of the desperate need. But the science is built on other science, that's built on other science, is built on other science. So it's not something that they've just started working on last year and they came up with it.
If you look at I remember when the COVID first came out, because I think what you mean, Vaughn, is that there were different types of coronaviruses.
That's the word.
Right, coronaviruses. Yes. Because I remember I found some when the pandemic first hit. I was going through like storage areas in my home looking for Lysol cans. You know what I mean? And I remember looking at it, and you look at that long list. You did see it said coronavirus.
Yeah.
So just to put like, yeah, it's been around for a while. And matter of fact, the 19 came for the year it was discovered.
Exactly.
That's how the 19 came. I use the 19 as the amount of pounds I gained since it came out. But yeah.
Well, let me add this, right? I agree with Adrian. I was listening to Alan, and it's not all fear. We don't want to be, because here's the thing, and I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench. I'm not so quick to say God gave the ability for man to create healing, which he did. He gave everybody the ability just to create. Not everybody creates sound stuff, right? That's one. Just something to think about, right? And not to say that there are not doctors or scientists who are working hard to make sure that they have something that works on behalf of the people, right? Not to say that. But the other part of it is I've traveled around the world. And in my travels, I have met some of the most strongest people in the world who live off of natural resources. No need. Me personally, I've been an educator for more than just about 19 years. Never got a flu shot because I personally don't care for vaccines of any sort. And it's not based off of fear. It's just something I believe my body, I believe in the natural ability of my body to take care of whatever sickness. I don't take headache pills. That's the decision I made, right? So some people may think it's an unwise decision. When I got married to my wife and I would get a headache and it would be really bad, and she would say, just take a pill. I said, no, I wouldn't take a pill. So she would think it's foolish for me to just kind of go through the pain, but I can tolerate it once I get over it. I just don't want to get used to taking medicine. That's me. I've seen a generation of my family take medicine, and I said, listen, and I've also had, you guys know my condition. I had type 2 diabetes, went to the hospital, 608 sugar level, had to be in the hospital for like 4 days, wait for the sugar level to come down, lost the weight, got right off the medicine. I wasn't taking any more shots. I wasn't taking any more pills that make your sugar go up or your sugar go down. I wasn't doing it. It wasn't the doctor's consultation. It was my own. Like you said, I consulted God and I consulted myself, and I've came to the conclusion I don't need it. And I've been fine. Because I had to make the decision that if I'm not going to do that, which is designed to help me, I'm clear on that. If I'm not going to do that, then I make sure I have to put in place the health plan that will keep me, safe and healthy and all that kind of stuff, my eating and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying that to say, like, I don't think that all decisions that people make, because listen, we've all done research, right? We're all gonna, because that's where the conflict comes in. That's where debates come in. I researched this, you research that. My doctor says this, your doctor says that. But at the end of the day, it really is about what you said originally, Alan. It's about, what do you believe God is saying for you? What do you believe God is saying for, Now, I wrestle with some of my decisions because I do work with young people. I'm not a teacher anymore, but I still work with thousands of young people. So I said, man, God, because I'm still not 100% clear if I want to take the vaccine. I have not made any decision to take it. Neither does my wife, right? And I don't believe in jinxes and stuff like that. But we've been fortunate that we haven't had COVID, right? And who's to say if we didn't have it or not? In the very early stages, we believe that many people had it and didn't even know it, right?
I believe I did.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a fact.
So to your point, I think that some of us, we are depending on our faith and not so much our fear if we decide not to take it, which is why I agree with Adrian. Like, my mother called me and asked me, should she take it? And I said, Ma, if you feel the need, I'll support you. Go take it. See, so I'm not going to persuade other people not to take it because of my decision. We're having this discussion now, but it's not something that I bring up. Hey, you taking I won't ask somebody random if you're taking the vaccine.
Right.
Your choice is your choice. And either way, I don't think it's a bad choice. You know, if it is coming from a place of fear, that's something that we could talk about, right?
Well,
But
that was my point. If it is coming from a place of fear, then that's a challenge. I'm not saying everybody who doesn't want to take it has fear. That's not what I'm saying. And that's why I said, you know, if you want to wait and see, you know, what's going on, get more information or talk to someone or whatever, even if you don't want to take it, it's up to you. But I think that we need to move away from fear, because that is certainly not of God.
Yeah. One more thing I agree with is kind of going back to like the generational thing. When you talked about Adam and Eve and how pure our system was. And as generations, of course, progressed, more stuff is inserted in our foods, stuff in the pollution in the air. You know, so our body needs help, right? Our bodies need help because the same kind of, you know, organic doesn't really mean organic the way it means organic in another country, or fat-free doesn't mean fat-free. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has to be, you know what I'm saying? Like me, I love to eat at home more than anything else in the world. You know, I trust my wife's cooking. You know, when you go out there, you're taking a risk, right? Am I right? If you go to a restaurant, you're actually just taking a risk.
Yeah, right? You are.
Yeah, you're taking a risk. So,
unless you're able to see the kitchen.
Yeah.
But you can't. You can't. Yeah, but I want to say something I think is very, very important. It's really, really important, and this is something that from a pastoral perspective you'll see, because you deal with people in so many different stages and walks of life. And one of the things I've learned is that when I'm dealing with people, it's very important to be able to distinguish the instances when they're walking in fear as opposed to when they're dealing with caution. Okay? And there's a very, very marked difference between the two. All right? And I had to come to the realization that sometimes I was thinking I was looking at fear, when in fact the person was just dealing with caution. And sometimes that comes as a result of their experiences that they've had, which are very, very real, which you can't deny, which you can't trivialize, which you can't marginalize. So that's what I said. My position is, you know, you need to consult with God. You need to consult with yourself. And based on like Reggie said, we've all gathered information. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everybody on this call has a level of brilliance. That's just my opinion, you know, except myself. But I'm just trying to keep up with the rest of
you want here, my friend.
That's right.
So, you know, you've all done your research. You've all looked at this, okay? And the reality is, there's just a comfortable or a level of comfortability that we all have to be at with regarding this.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Without sounding like a conspiracy theorist, I still don't think all the information there is available about this thing has been made available to the extent that it needs. And I'm the kind of individual, I like to have as much well-rounded information as I can to make a decision. Because when you start sticking a needle in me, that's major. Like, okay, Reggie said, I can't see what they're doing in that kitchen. I know you're telling me what you give me with this needle, but I didn't see where it started from, where it came from, to the point where we got to. So, you know, for me, and especially in light of the fact I got it and I came through and I'm doing good, and my doctor advised me to wait before I get it because I already had it, then I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and wait. You know, it's amazing. One of the parishioners of our church, her mother is 78 years of age. She doesn't look a day over 60. I mean, a woman looks incredible. And last year, about July, they were all sitting around talking. And about that time, the discussion was get tested, because the vaccine wasn't here yet. So the discussion was get tested, see if you have it. So she hadn't been anywhere when it first broke. She was working for Costco as a hostess, and she decided to quit. So she came home about March. And so they hadn't been anywhere. And in July, they decided, okay, let's go get tested. Well, she came back as showing antibodies that she had it, but she never exhibited any symptoms. So she was part of that group that they call asymptomatic. Now, the interesting thing was, according to what we've been told, And according to what has been demonstrated to some level of accuracy, that she's in the demographical set of people that not only should she, her getting it, we shouldn't be reading about her being asymptomatic. According to most of the conventional thinking, that thing was supposed to take her out, 78 years of age, but she never showed any symptoms. Okay, so there's still a lot about it that we're working through, so to speak. Okay, with the information that we have, with the research that we've done, I know other individuals who have researched and read extensively, like Alan has done. Okay, but there's still a lot of factors that are mitigating with this, and whenever there's mitigating factors, for some people, it's not a level of fear; it's just a level of caution because they require a different assurance level. Okay,
and the scriptures tell us to watch as well as pray, and some of us want to watch a little longer.
Now, I have a cousin who, and I may be contradicting myself as far as gauging when a person is dealing with caution as opposed to when they're doing fear, but this woman is fearful. Okay, I mean, she's afraid of her own shadow. I mean, everything. It's like, okay, put a glove on when you're in your house handling your own writing pen because Corona is waiting for you. That kind of deal, okay? I mean, okay, that's insanity. That's insanity, all right? I'm not even going to call that fear. I'm just going to call that insanity. Something like that, okay, now you're being ridiculous. And that kind of thing doesn't help, okay? To speak to Alan's point, that doesn't help, okay? Because now you're spreading ignorance, like old Kojic used to say, sit down, you're spreading ignorance, okay? But we don't want to do that because that's the other extreme as well. But we want to have a balance where this thing is concerned and give people the opportunity to work through it, okay, according to wherever they are. Like I listened to Alan and he says he has high blood pressure. And I'm thinking about my wife, okay? And I'm saying, okay, and I know, it seems like, Alan, you're at the point where you're going to take it, right?
Yes, sir.
But I'm concerned for him having high blood pressure. Now, evidently, he's done his research and everything that he needs to do, and he doesn't feel like, that's going to be an issue. But I'm concerned for him. So there's going to be levels where this thing is concerned where we're all dealing with, but you've got to find a place of balance. Find a place of balance. I think that's the key.
So, Pastor, you wasn't coming home from grocery shopping and wiping down every piece of grocery that you pulled out?
Absolutely not, brother. I'm serious. I'm being very serious. When it first happened,
I was, and then after a while, you just like one quick wipe.
When it first happened, my wife was making me wipe everything down, and then she would wipe me down. Okay, so that's
wait a minute. We're still talking about groceries. We're still talking groceries.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
Hallelujah.
Randy.
Let's do a timeline here. When I was in the house with the groceries, she would wipe the groceries down first, and while I'm standing at the door, she would wipe me down. Oh, got it? While I'm standing at the door with my clothes on. Come on, brother.
All right, Pastor Rand. Pastor.
I thought y'all was holy men of God.
Yeah, we were worshiping.
But now
you married. It's all good.
Hello, marriage is honorable, and the bed is what? Undefiled. Wow. I feel something. Reggie, give me the organ. Give me the organ.
Oh, okay. Ready.
So listen. But now, listen. I'm not wiping anything down. Now, let me give a caveat to that. I still have my sanitizer in the compartments in my car. I have it in my school bag. Make no mistake about it. Okay, I have the spray sanitizer. I'm not being reckless and irresponsible.
Hallelujah.
But I'm not walking around in paranoia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not walking around in paranoia. When I go to school, I'm not officially handicapped. I just want to show you something where my balance is. But they have these apparatuses now for those who are physically challenged where you can hit a button and the door swings open for you. Well, guess what? I'm not handling doors. I'm hitting the handicap button.
That's what I do, brother.
Okay, listen. and before Corona hit, for 25 years, I have not handled a public bathroom handle or fixture with my bare hands.
I'm with you there.
25 years. Okay. And let me tell you why. I have observed.
Because people are nasty. That's why.
I have observed people, and especially a certain group of people, relieve themselves and go right to the door, and they will not practice hygiene.
Listen, every time I go into a public bathroom, I'm like the equalizer. I try to stake out everything to figure out how am I get out of here without touching anything.
I'll push the door in with my shoulder. Okay. I'll grab a piece of tissue to handle the fixtures. I'll put my hand under the dryer. And then if I can't get anything, I'll stick my hand in my pocket. And while my hand is in my pocket, grab the door handle. That's the way I've been for the last 25 years. Because, like Alan's, what did you say, Alan? Say it again. Say it again.
People are nasty.
People are nasty.
Yes.
And nasty. And you know what? You know what blew my mind? I went into BJ's about 5 months ago. I'll never forget it. And maybe 6 months ago. We was in the height of this thing. Okay. This thing was a problem. And I go in the bathroom, and this guy goes and relieves himself, and he goes and touches the door. The BJ's even has this thing now at the bottom of the door where you can stick your foot and pull it back. He wouldn't even do that. He grabbed the handle. And I started to rebuke him, you demon. I had to catch myself.
Pastor, I got another one. And BJ's also in the height of the pandemic. I'm online. And the lines are long. And there was another guy with a group of guys who looked like him. I think they were related. And this guy was going to town. I don't know. There must have been like gold up his nose. Because my man was like,
Jesus.
digging, right?
Jesus.
So I'm like, in BJ's, they got the touch screen, right? And I'm praying. I'm like, please don't let him be the one that's paying for it. Please don't let me tell you. He took out his wallet, went for some more change, if you know what I mean, and started pressing that thing. Let me tell you. You talk about fear. Man, let me tell you, it's like I saw a crime scene. And it's like before, back in the day, that was just regular nasty. Right. But now it's like your nastiness can cause my harm.
Yeah, because that thing operates in the respiratory canals.
Yes.
And Ernesto. But you know what I would do with that? If he's the one ahead of me and he gets to the register first, and that register is free, I'm going to let the person behind me. I'm going to play courteous. I'm going to play generous and say, "Well, I want to."
No, they were across. Yeah, they were across. I wasn't on that line.
Well, okay. Well, praise
was concerned about the other folk.
I'm sorry, but thanks.
But check this out. This is before Corona, though, right? And unfortunately, this happened in the church, right?
I know where you're going.
Yeah, you heard the story before. This is hilarious. I went into the bathroom. I was in the stall. There was these other guys in the bathroom. They were using it, right? They knew each other. They were talking to each other, right? When they were done, I didn't hear any faucet. I heard them just leave the bathroom.
What church was this?
This was a church, right? And so,
a big church.
A big church in Brooklyn.
I walked out. No, check this out. This is the kicker. No, check this out. This is the kicker. When I walked out the church, there was a friend of mine who was talking to these individuals, and he introduced me to them, and I recognized their voices. They were three guys from the bathroom, and they extended their hands, and I said, "Oh no, guys! I just washed my hands. I just came out the bathroom." Right? I was like, Randy, can you say that one more time, Randy?
The nasty.
People nasty.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. For me, I took the virus. I was one of those the same way. Didn't want to take it right at first, like everybody else. But I took it to give also my wife some peace of mind because she was concerned, my age, and she was saying that because of the age and all this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not a person that's fearful of stuff. I trust God. I believe God. And I believe wholeheartedly that the body does heal itself. The problem is that we don't allow it to heal itself. We don't give it time to heal itself.
Yep.
We see it took some time for it to get to the state that is in. So it must take some time in order for it to heal itself. So that means you have to change some things in your life to allow your body to heal itself. But it can heal itself. But now, as far as taking this virus and stuff like that, I just went on and just decided that, like I said, she was totally looking all the time. I wasn't. I probably would have never took it because I'm not the person that's going to go out there and say, "Oh, I got to get it." Like I'm looking everywhere. But it was, matter of fact, yesterday, she said, "Oh, they giving a test. The virus back out in Mill Basin, for city workers." So she right away said, "What, did you make an appointment?" So I'm like, "Okay, make the appointment. Make the appointment." Because I know that's something that she really wanted me to have. She's trying to get it. She's an educator. And it's different. And also because of the people that I work around. Everybody is not going to be careful.
Right.
Everybody is not going to have on a mask. Everybody is not trying to, people just going on like nothing's happening. When we was down, like down in Florida never closed. Everything was still open.
They think it's 2018 over there, man. For real.
And so we looking at this thing. So, like I said, so she's like an educator. She's in there. She's dealing with kids. She don't know what's going on with their home. She's finding out teachers are getting the virus. So she makes sure that when they come to her office, she makes sure she put her mask on. She's one of those that's going to go to BJ's and she's going to wipe down the earth. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, look, we don't touch these things about 5 times before we got them in the house. But then she's still wiping it down and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just saying, listen, whatever's going to give you your peace of mind, you give you your peace of mind. And so that's my whole thing. I really honestly believe that, given time, like nobody really wants to go with it. I remember this one musician he was saying to us, he said, listen, I'm going to pray to God to ask him to help me lose some weight. So I told him, I said, listen, you don't want to ask God that. I said, because you might not like the way that he lay you down to help you lose weight.
That's right.
And I'm a witness.
and so we say these things. I said, you don't want to ask him that. You better just learn how to discipline yourself.
Hello.
And do it yourself. I
Reggie,
said, because if God lay you down.
He's organ right now. The preacher's preaching.
If God lays you down, you might not like the way he's going to cause you to lose the weight. So
there you go.
And so the thing is, I'm just saying that when you talk about healing and the body healing itself, it can't do that. Like I told you about my former pastor who had high blood pressure, and then it wasn't from so much high blood pressure, but he lost his limbs. He lost, and so what it was, he started cutting off everything because he would not change his habits. He had sugar. That's what it was. He had sugar. Yeah. So they started cutting things. So eventually he lost his life. But when doctors was warning him tell them you need to do this, you need to do the thing. And a lot of times we don't heed the warnings that comes. And like you said, Pastor Darren, the body will tell you that there's something wrong, something is going on, something is happening, and you need to take time to address it, to check it out. And a lot of times, us as men, I know I was always like that. Don't go to the doctor. Don't like to go to the doctor. I mean, it would take me maybe like 2 years before I go get a physical. But I'm like now more trying to be more in tune and up on going to the doctor, making sure things are right, making sure things are in right place and everything is right, making sure all my levels and all that kind of stuff is right. Because, when you start having these problems in your body, it can lead to other things if it's not addressed.
Unfortunately, the other part of that is I know two people, I'm pretty sure you brothers know some men or some women like this too, who got the diagnosis, who was told what they needed to change, and just decided they didn't want to change.
Right.
I know one person who had type 2 diabetes in the most extreme way, where they amputated his foot, then his leg, and he refused to change the way he ate. He said, I'm going to go out this way. And I was confused by that, but you give people over to their decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey guys,
yeah.
Did you hear about Dr. Dre and Ed Lover from Yo MTV Raps?
Yeah.
So he was always big, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He had diabetes. He had to get one of his legs amputated, and he's blind.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, he's blind.
I didn't know he was blind now.
Yeah, he's blind.
Really?
Yep. He actually had to move to a special, he has a GoFundMe page. And because he has to move to a special apartment and stuff like that.
Wow.
And insurance has gone high and stuff like that. And let me tell you, especially from Alan, Vaughn, and Reggie from when we were younger. I mean, that we grew up on this guy, and he was always big.
Right.
Just to put an exclamation point to your point, Reg.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and again, it boils down to what Alan said earlier. I have to go back to it. Some people went past consulting God and just consulted themselves, right? And they said,
right.
This is, I remember rebuking a friend of mine who I love, I love this dude. We grew up together. He's the only childhood friend that I have, that I'm still in contact with. And he's the same with me. And he ended up in the hospital. He was actually on his way to see me on my birthday some years ago. And I found out that he was in the hospital. And I went to see him, and I was so angry at him. I was so angry. I said, yo, man, it's not about you, man. It's not just about you. You got children, you got a wife, you got, I know you want to see them grow old. They want to see you, they want you to hold their children, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff kind of makes me upset, because I realized how reckless I was, and how my recklessness, and I think you talked about it, Pastor Darren, how my recklessness is not just wrecking me. We don't belong as men, as husbands. We don't belong to ourselves. As ministers, we don't belong to ourselves. As teachers, we don't belong to ourselves, right? As musicians, we don't belong to ourselves. We have a responsibility to stay healthy for others.
Yes.
Right? We have a responsibility to take care of this temple that God has blessed us with, right? And so it's incumbent upon us to understand our makeup, right? Consult with God when it comes to medicine, if we need it, how important it is for us to take it. If there are certain things that our bodies can't fight without it, then by all means we should take it, right? I believe in that. I'm not against medicine, but I'm also pro natural. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know that, and Vaughn, I'm not trying to capitalize, right? I know that we're going on the 7:00 hour.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question. I know we don't have to spend time on it,
Go for it.
But Thurston threw out a deep, deep question that I felt like we would consult tonight, but we don't have to do it.
You want to go over? You want to go?
Beyonce, Prince,
okay, all right.
Michael Jackson, and Whitney.
All right, good. We can talk that, but before we wrap up this, I just want to point out a couple of. Nicole Brown wanted to mention that you were speaking about Ed Lover, also the owner of Amy Roos Restaurant. She's a double amputee due to diabetes as well.
Wow.
Right. And Claudio Collins, Judge Claudio Collins, was mentioning that he had his first shot and he was hesitant because he hasn't even gotten the flu shot in decades, but he jumped on the chance to get the COVID-19 vaccine. To each his own. After doing some research and trusting the science, I chose to get it. I also wonder if he needed to get it because he's a judge, if he would eventually be mandated to get it. But yeah, so we wanted to wrap up that and before we wrap up the whole night, you want to touch on that what Thurston posted.
We don't have to. It's just something that,
we could talk about it real quick.
No to Beyonce. I gotta go.
Well, the challenge. I don't know if Pastor Darren saw it, right? Because
I saw it.
Oh, because this is how this all happened. This is how we all got together, right?
I responded.
I didn't see the response.
Oh, you know what? I responded to Sister Nicole Brown.
Okay.
I responded. I think I said something on the lines. I was agreeing with her. But okay, listen.
Wait, tell everybody what the challenge was, or what the
Okay, so she was grouped with Prince, Michael Jackson, and Whitney.
And one had to go.
And one had to go. In other words, who doesn't belong in this set? And listen, I'll go first. I'll put my head in the guillotine first.
Okay.
That was easy. She doesn't belong in this set. Beyonce or whatever. I never was able to say her name.
I agree.
She doesn't belong in that set.
I agree.
Okay. You don't even have to. For me, there's no discussion. There's no debate. There's no, okay, let's examine the evidence or whatever. There is no evidence. She does not belong in that set. She's just basically benefited. I don't know what she's benefited from, but she's just benefited. Okay.
Now listen, Beyonce is talented. She's an incredible performer. She's incredible. She's a great singer. She's a great singer. She can sing. She's a good singer. I don't know if I want to say great because Whitney is great. Beyonce is a good singer. She's a good performer. She's probably the best, as far as a woman, the best all-round performer that I've seen, other than probably say Tina Turner, somebody that can do it all, that dancing at that high intensity and singing and everything at the same time. However, Prince is a musical genius.
Genius.
He is a genius. Michael is a genius.
Genius.
And Whitney is maybe one of the greatest singers of all time.
She's a vocal genius.
Vocal genius. There you go.
She's a vocal genius. So Prince, genius. Michael Jackson, genius. Whitney Houston, genius. Beyonce, what?
But check this out. Here's my take, right? I kind of went a different route because I agree with everybody, but I'm like, first of all, how dare you group Michael Jackson and Prince in any type of grouping? They are exclusive.
Standalone.
They are in a class by themselves. The reason why I wouldn't put Whitney in there, even though she's a genius, she's a vocal genius. I don't know about her writing, right? So that's the only reason why I wouldn't kind of group her in that. I wouldn't put it in that group. I would have said if they would have put Beyonce, if they would have did something like Beyonce and Whitney and maybe Mary J. for what they represented represented for their generation, right? Whitney, I think, spoke to me more than anyone else. I was around when Mary J. came out. Mary J. was dope, but when Whitney came out, that she was the one. You know what I'm saying? For me.
But Reg, didn't he ask about didn't he put like it was their music catalog? Wasn't that the question specifically?
I think it was them and all their music. One of them.
Still not worthy to be.
It's not fair to put Beyonce in there.
In whatever category, they're not They shouldn't even be
Right.
even mentioned in that same. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I was confused by that. I was like, that's not fair. Of course you're gonna boot Beyonce out. So that's not even fair. Put it in a category where there's a discussion that's worthy to be had. I think if it was just Beyonce, maybe, and Whitney and Mary J, and maybe I don't know who else. Maybe there's a discussion worthy of having. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Randy, you're the only one that hasn't chimed in.
No, I said Beyonce.
Okay.
I said Beyonce. You
Yes.
know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Earlier.
That's she's all right. Got her.
She's talented, but
I have a lot of respect for Beyonce and what she has accomplished. Her work, her craft. I agree with Vaughn. I have not seen a person who can move like Beyonce in a pair of high heels the way how she does. And it sounds like it's funny, but that's a lot of work.
You know who did that?
And I have so much respect for her and the way how she conducts herself. But when it comes to the music, I'm on the side of Reggie. You can't put Michael and Prince against anyone.
Right.
That's not fair. That's like LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan on the 3-on-3 with anybody. That's not fair.
Right. Ernesto, you said you haven't seen anyone that can move like her in heels. I can tell you one person who did.
Yes.
Who?
Prince.
No, I was actually thinking relatively speaking, actually, I was thinking Tina Turner.
Well,
no,
Tina Turner. I said, yeah. I mean, Beyonce is the closest thing to Tina Turner as someone who can do the singing and dancing at the same time. Nobody else I've never seen could do it.
They can't do the split like Prince.
True.
You got it, Randy. That's right.
Play basketball against Eddie Murphy brother.
Yes.
In heels.
And win. And win blouses.
And make pancakes afterwards.
Eddie Murphy this week was on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, one of the guys, and he said that's pretty much a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah,
pretty much a true story. It happened pretty much the same way Charlie.
The guy
joked.
from Shalimar also confirmed that story.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what your wife with, right?
What is she? Oh, let me see. Let's see if she's criticizing me.
No, not at all.
Great show. Thurston should be proud of you guys for holding down the fort tonight. Also nervous, y'all may try to take over his show. That we don't do.
Vaughn held it down.
Just from doing this a little bit, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand something that Thurston, that it's not as easy to try to keep track of Facebook and what everybody's doing. But
great job.
Okay,
Vaughn.
we're gonna end the show. And the way Thurston always ends it, I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched us today, those who chimed in, and even those who didn't. We appreciate you guys for watching it on behalf of our host, Thurston, who should be back with us next week. Once again, we just want everybody to have a blessed week, praying that everything goes well for you guys. And brothers, if anybody wants to sign off, say anything, farewell.
I missed you, Thurston. Vaughn held it down. We have fun. And I love everybody who always plug in and just rock with us, just being guys. That's it. So thank you and Vaughn, man, you held it down, man. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. I try not to make too much of a fool of myself here.
Good job. Not at all.
You did phenomenally well, man. Actually, phenomenally. And
thank you. And I just want to say to everybody out there, please, if you have ideas on topics, just send it into us so that we can hash it over and bring it and give our take on it every week. All right. So
good to see you.
Thank you, brothers. Good to see you, everybody. Pray everybody be blessed and take care of yourselves. God bless,
brothers. Love you, brothers.
Love you.
All right.
Love you too, man. All right.